Hello and welcome back again, it's Abaddon Sentinel here, and today I'm bringing you a video to do the second round of the Everchosen painting competition. Now, you may well have already seen, it's been up for a while now, on the Warhammer community website, that there is an actual web page for being able to vote on your favourite models. It's a 1 to 5 stars scale, and you basically just rate each picture as you see it, and that's one of the things that they're going to base the next round on. So let's jump straight in and have a look at some. So here we are. You can see the first model that it's brought up for me. It's quite an impressive one. I'll just point out now, obviously you can see the website address at the top of the page here. I will also put a link down in the description to that, so you can have a look yourself if you're not sure how to get there. So anyway, let's have a look. Basically, on this one, pretty impressive first glance. Let's have a closer look, see if we can pick some details out. Quite liking the highlighting on the tips of the hair on top. Loving the transition down to the red hand there. The patterning on the wood on that staff is pretty damn good. You can use this kind of stuff, by the way, if you've seen my previous video on looking at other people's work to, you know, pick out things to help improve your own. You can analyze here what's good, what you like, what you don't like, things that you might want to borrow for your own painting style, that kind of thing. So you can see as well even the basing, the way that they've painted and shaded, it doesn't distract you from the rest of the model, and the way that it has those dark colours at the bottom rising up to the brighter colours towards the top. It's quite nice. Those highlights on the top, just bringing your attention to that. I mean, the entire thing's painted pretty damn well in my opinion, but it's just those nice little touches that really put it up there in my opinion. Rating this out of 5, I would rate this one. To be honest, I think I'm going to give this one a 5. It's got some quite nice blends, nice transitions. I'm loving some of the highlighting. Yeah. All in all, very good model. So we'll give the first one 5 stars. So now it brings up our second one. Ooh, very bright. That's not a bad thing, by the way. Just obviously in comparison to the last one, we had some more muted tones. This has got quite a lot of bright colours going on. So let's have a look in detail. I'm liking the base. I'm liking the roughly half and half, you know, beach and sea. I wouldn't say it's got as many nice transitions as the previous example, unfortunately. The highlighting work on the scales is very good. The detail on the face is pretty nice. And in isolation, I would be very, very happy with this model. I'd be very impressed with it. You know, that flowing fabric is looking pretty nice. But in comparison to the previous model and other ones that I've seen, it's not quite got that kind of winning quality for this kind of competition, I don't think. Which is a bit of a shame to say, obviously. I mean, there's so many good models here. It is difficult to be the best. It's going to be very impressive for whoever it is that wins it. But yeah, looking at this one, it's a very nice paint job, but I just think it lacks some of those subtler touches that, say, like the previous model have, and I'm sure we'll probably see in some of the other ones. So with that being said, I think I'm probably going to give this one 4 stars. I think, because like I say, it's very, very good. You know, they've not tried to do every scale the same. They've tried to get some a bit of a shimmering effect going on there, and it's quite nice. It's just missing something. So 4 stars. And by the way, as well, if you disagree with my ratings, or you just want to let me know like your thoughts on some of these, by all means, let me know in the comments. I'll be checking those just to see what people have said, see whether they agree with me, see whether you disagree with me. You know, I quite like to get feedback that way as well, because I might be missing something that you guys see. So yeah, this one, obviously a modified model here. I'm not overly sure exactly what it's supposed to be. I'm seeing a bit of warpstone there. I think it's being modified for some kind of Skaven vessel. I'm not entirely sure. The picture is a little bit pixelated. I can't quite tell what's going on there. Unfortunately, it's a plain base. Stuff like that, especially in a competition like this, is going to really detract. You know, I like the smoky effect on it. I'm liking the modification to it, mostly because of the fact that I think it's a nice little kit bash there. I'm gonna give this one a 2, unfortunately. I think there's not too much else to be said on it for a competition like this. At least it's a 2, I think. Okay, next one. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I'm loving this one. I'm loving this particular model. It's a great one for doing for a competition like this. In my opinion, it's a fair few different features to work with. So the blending on those wings, the blending on the leaves, the base, again, it's a nice subtle base. It's not that it's done unskillfully, but it's there to enhance the rest of the model. It's not there to be any part of the focus. So that adds to it very nicely. Now, I wish I could turn it slightly and alter the lighting a little bit to get a better view of it. So unfortunately, some of the pictures on the website aren't particularly great, which is a shame. But regardless, I do think that's looking very, very nice. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt with this. I'm going to give this one a 5, I think. It looks really, really effective. The colour choices, like I say, the base being quite simple, blending on the wings. It's just a fantastic example of good miniature painting, I think. What's next? Ooh, well, this is interesting. Okay, so we've got some quite nice blends here and some nice edge highlighting and things. Now, I feel like it could have done with a few more colours in this. It's just very overwhelming with the fairly bright blue and pink. And, I mean, they've been painted fairly well. It's just, there's not much contrast going on there. Well, I mean, obviously there's a big contrast between the blue and the pink. But for picking out other bits, it makes it just look like quite a big block, I think, which is a shame because I feel like this particular painter, the way that the technique that they've used rather than their colour selection, the technique is pretty good. So I reckon if they'd gone with a slightly different colour scheme, it would really enhance it, and this would be quite up there in terms of quality and, in this case, star rating. It makes it difficult, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to give this one a 3, middle of the road, because of the technique being decent, but the colour choices not really being there as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, we'll give that a 3. See what comes up next. Now this is very much more my scene. A lovely typhus. I'm loving the transitions on the green there on the armour. It's very nice to get those deeper shades and the bright colours. You see that little rust spot on the belly there. Nice brass tones. I'm not so sure about the vapour and the smoke coming out the back. It seems a little bland to me. Now that might have been a conscious choice by the painter in order to not draw focus away from the main bulk of typhus. His scythe obviously is looking very nice there. I'm loving the blade on that. That's very good. I would love to know how that one was done. Wow, I have just noticed something. Huddersfield Games. Huddersfield is my local town, so yeah, I may well actually have seen this person, but I've not seen this model before. If you see this, Alex from Huddersfield, very nice. I'd like to meet in person and discuss your technique for this. It's amazing. Again, nice subtle base. We've got obviously a different colour helmet to the rest of the armour. It's quite nice for drawing the attention to the face. Obviously, you can do that by being, having the other colours a bit muted, a bit toned down, not quite so bright. But obviously, in this case, he's gone for the contrast of it being, almost a stark white colour in comparison to the grey armour, which, it works just as well. So, the minute this model came up, the first thing that I noticed were the face and the highlights on the belly and the shoulders of the armour. So it's quite nice focus there. If, provided that's what he was going for, which I imagine it was, it brings your focus straight into that point. So I'm very impressed with this, and without any bias, I think I'm gonna give this one a 5. I'm very impressed with that. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see this model in person as well. So yeah, there we go. Next up, Ooh, a little dwarf. Very nice. Okay. So, you know, having had a few seconds to take that in. Some nice bright colours on there. We've got some nice contrast. Red and blue obviously worked well together. The gold trim, the brown, we've not, you know, it's not been overdone anywhere. Good technique on the highlighting. The gems on there nicely highlighted for that that sheen that they get to them. I wish I could rotate it round so I could see the back of the cloak and things, because that's obviously where the light gets to be able to look at the transitions and the highlighting on that. Maybe look at the actual face of the shield, see what that looks like. But I mean, all in all, again, this is a spectacular model. Very basic base. They're not going for anything over the top. They've got him obviously stood on his little podium there. But the rest of the base is just natural, like, well, looks like Scribbland kind of stuff. I'm quite impressed with this one as well. Can't tell from the quality of this picture whether or not that's an actual metallic paint on the armour on the feet, or whether they've gone for a non-metallic effect. If anyone out there can tell me, you know, it'd be interesting to know that. I think this one's going to be another 5 stars, actually. It's got a slightly more cartoonish look rather than realistic look, but that serves this model particularly well. So yeah, 5 stars. Okay, got some nice transitions here as well. So again, we've got a lot of similar colours here. They've got the blues and the greens. A lot of green going on there with the skin and the smoke at the top. Obviously the blue on the shawl. It's quite interesting. Some nice little highlights on the feet there and on the hands. Unfortunately, I think this one suffers slightly again from the lack of colour. The green is a little overpowering without much else to go, you know, against it for the contrast. But it's, you know, it's draws your attention most definitely. But it's a bit too bright and a bit too much for my personal taste, that without having colours to turn it down a little bit or help draw your eye away from it a little bit. The base as well, see they've gone for a bit of a snowy base there, but it does look very much like I can see a fair amount of black underneath that still. So yeah, it's similar to the previous one of the earlier pictures with the blue and pink. The technique gone into it is really nice. The colour selection I'm not as keen on, but I do think that this one's probably done it a little bit better than the previous one, so I'm going to give this one a 4. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, first glance for me for this is just 5 stars straight away. Like, obviously, I'm going to go into things a little bit more in detail, which could change my mind, but first glance, that is a 5-star paint job. The highlighting of the folds in the cloth, transitions on the shoulder pads, on the weapon, the basing for it, it's a good stance as well for the model to be in for painting for a competition. The colours very complementary of each other, you know, a couple of different greens on there, that blue shoulder pad just to, you know, give it that little bit of contrast to it. It ties it in with the shield quite well, and then obviously the purple crystal with the little bit of a glow off it, another nice little bit of contrast. It's things like that that I think that last Orc model was missing. Just something different. It was too very much bright green, yeah, fairly bright blue, whereas this is a little bit more subtle. It's got those couple of tones of the green going on there, painted very skillfully. I mean, even adding a very textured look to the cloth at the bottom there. But the blue and that purple, and obviously there's the gold shoulder pad as well, which we can't see properly, that just give that extra bit of contrast that kind of makes it, if you get what I mean. Love to be able to see the back of this one as well, just to see a bit more of that fabric, see what kind of tone it's gone for on the back. I'm assuming it'll still be that darker green, but it'd be nice to see a bit more of that highlighting they've done there that gives it that wonderful textured look. I mean, I haven't even mentioned like the face and the hair yet, but I think that one's pretty spectacular to me. So yeah, 5 stars for that. So this is another example, unfortunately, of where the picture's not great. It looks from this distance like quite a nice paint job. It seems to have a bit of a weathered effect going on to the plating on it, as well as that like mash and dust kind of effect, especially towards the bottom where it looks like it's, you know, has been walking along, it's picked up the dust. Now this might seem a bit weird compared to what I've said before, but obviously this one is almost entirely yellow, and I've kept on mentioning about having the different colours for contrasting, and to be honest, I don't think this one needs it. I think it's a very good paint job without having anything like that on it. It demonstrates really nice shading technique, highlighting technique, picking out the light sources, showing those little extra touches such as the weathering and the dust that can really make the feel of a model. The base, very simple. Maybe could have done a little bit more with it, but for what they've done with the main model, I think the base is actually quite effective because everything's quite simplified, but good, very good. So this one, to be honest, even going against what I've said earlier about having a few different colours to contrast it, again, it's going to be one that I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to put a 5 stars on this one. Okay, here we've got another lovely sea elf. I don't know the names of these models particularly well. I have recently looked at them, but if someone could remind me in the comments, that would be amazing. Now, this one, unfortunately for the previous person that did a similar model, I'm now going to obviously end up comparing the two, and I do think this one's been done better from a first glance. And you can see the difference. For example, if you look at the shoulder and the muscles of the, I don't know what it's called, but for want of a better term, the seahorse, on those arms at the front, the highlighting and the fact that they've got that little white spot that looks like it gives it that sheen, that wet look, those are the kind of touches that the previous one was missing. Again, very good transitions again on this one. They've gone for a bit of a different style with the base. It's very much a sea floor, if I'm not mistaken, rather than a beachfront. It would be nice to see the cloak. I know they can't obviously show all angles of the model in one picture, but I would imagine the cloak's probably been done fairly well as well. The armour plating and the horn obviously share some similarities in colour there. It's quite a nice little tie-in. The little touches like that can make quite a big difference, and you might not even notice it a lot of the time, but just to have things themed and the colours tying into each other like that is really nice. And the fact that the armour of the elf is only slightly different in tone to a lot of the scales around it, obviously not the yellow ones, but the purpley blues around it, but that little bit brighter, so your attention's drawn to the armour to have a look at that, and the elf on top is a really effective use of colour choice. The sword blade as well is done very well. The longer I'm looking at this model, the more things I'm just seeing that even on their own, rather than just the entire model on their own, they're painted spectacularly, and it's actually really nice to just have a look at this model. It's not often when I have a look at them that I just want to sit there and look. Like I keep stuttering because I'm looking at this, and all I want to do is just stare at it. There's so much going on, but without being overpowering. It's a really, really nice selection of colour, and the way that it's blended and the tones of the different colours that have been used. Yeah, that's very nice. 5 stars for definite. Right, and with that, I think I've had a look at enough of them there. It's time for you to go and have a look yourself. Remember, I've put the link down in the description so that you can go and look at those models and rate them. Let me know in the comments if you agreed with what I was saying or you disagree. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And remember, subscribe to my channel to see more videos in the future. I'll see you later.